afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. It is my great pleasure to be joining you to talk about something very near and dear to my heart. My dad, his legacy, Mission Zero, and the Ray. So my father, Ray Anderson, was the greenest industrialist of the century. Dad was born and raised right here in West Point, Georgia. He lived on Avenue C, just a few blocks away from here. He really came from very humble beginnings. His dad was an assistant postmaster, and his mom was a retired school teacher. He did excel in football during his high school years in West Point. He knew the only way he would ever get to go to college was on a scholarship for football, and he really wanted to go to Georgia Tech. He did get a scholarship, but unfortunately he blew his shoulder out the first year. But Coach Bobby Dodd really believed in Ray and kept him as the water boy until he graduated in industrial engineering in 1956 with the highest honors. He started his career in Procter & Gamble and later worked for Callaway Mills and Milliken. In 1973, he took his life savings and started a carpet tile company called Interface in LaGrange, Georgia. Well, this was a whole new way of making carpet because these were carpet squares. He was a bold risk taker, and he grew a small business into $1 billion company in 110 countries and on 4 continents. And in 1994, he had an epiphany that really changed his whole life. He realized he was making a fortune off of a take, make, waste system in business. So he made Interface to be the model to become the most sustainable and restorative business in the world. So he achieved these goals through a visualization he called Mount Sustainability, and to climb to the top to be zero carbon by the year 2020. And the 7 phases were to eliminate waste, better emissions, do no harm to the biosphere, use renewable energy such as the sun, wind, and hydrogen, close the loop on material flow such as petroleum, improve transportation, and create a culture shift that redesigns commerce itself. So Interface started as a very dirty manufacturing company, and for them to achieve Mission Zero, drastic steps were needed. My father understood that his company had to zero out on waste and polluting emissions and embrace the closed-loop recycling and new energy sources. He also understood that one company alone couldn't save the planet. That's where changing attitudes and spreading the word came into play. Suppliers and companies that worked with Interface had to embrace these principles of sustainable business. Competitors had to come along too. My father gave over 160 speeches around the world until his death in 2011, and that's every year he did this. He was spreading the gospel and doing well by doing good. So after my dad passed away, I wanted to do something to honor him, and I worked with the governor to name a stretch of highway on I-85 in West Georgia, my dad's hometown, as the Ray C. Anderson Memorial Highway. And then I had the oh gosh moment. What have I done? I just put the greenest industrialist name on a dirty highway, and that's just totally unacceptable. So what do? I worked with Georgia Conservancy, and they helped connect us with Georgia Tech College of Architecture to develop a blueprint to what a sustainable highway would look like. 9 grad students spent a whole year working on this project, and they used Dad's Mount Sustainability as the basis. The findings set the basis for our journey. Next, we added Innovia Technology. These were 45 brilliant PhDs from Cambridge, England, and they studied Tech's report, and they developed a plan of action and a timeline for emerging technologies from around the world. A rural interstate road redesigned by architects? and English PhDs in lieu of a civil engineering group, it became quite interesting. Today, we call that stretch of highway, this 18 miles, the Ray. And it's a proving ground and a living lab for transportation technology, and it's changing the world. With Georgia DOT as our main partner, we've done some extraordinary pilot projects that are creating a highway that's drastically different from what we're used to. This highway isn't just any highway, it's Mission Zero Highway. That's zero carbon, zero waste, and zero deaths. So how are we going to get there? An obvious first step is addressing all that pollution that we're so used to seeing and breathing on our highways. That's why the first technology we demonstrated on our living lab was so obvious. A quick charging, solar-powered electric vehicle charger. We call that a PV for EV. Our PV for EV provides clean energy for clean cars, and it moves us closer to our zero carbon goal. Not only that, but this one station closed a critical gap for EV charging and opened up an entire interstate for EV travelers. We're also a part of Adopt the Highway. And this program is a litter pickup program, and we believe that litter has no place on our highway or any highway. So we're going to talk about a little bit of resource efficiency. What is it? Well, it means using what we have to do more. Our highways are surrounded by acres and acres of land called the right-of-way. We have over 250 acres just on our 18 miles. Now, of course, we need a safe place for drivers to stop in an emergency, but can this safe place multitask? The answer is yes. We can create economic opportunity, and we can generate new revenue for DOTs just by using some of that space for renewable energy generation. This fall on the Ray, we're beginning construction on a 1 megawatt solar farm on the highway shoulder through a partnership with Georgia DOT, Georgia Power, and our Energy Commission. If you get a chance, check out exit 14 and you'll see 2,600 solar panels on the right-of-way shoulder. We're really excited about this. But what if the solar panels weren't just next to the highway, but on the highway? On the Ray, it's not a hypothetical question, but a reality. We found Wattway in France, which glues onto the existing road, kind of like a Lee press-on nail. It's heavy duty, it's skid resistant, it lasts as long as new asphalt, and you don't have to tear the road up to install it. Our 50 square meter pilot project is Wattway on the Ray, and it's the first in the world outside of France, and everyone needs to come see it because it's real. The future is here, and our solar road generates over 8 megawatt hours in 12 months. We use this power that's generated, and we feed it into our Welcome Center to help with energy cost. Now, I've always had this thought, think about the right-of-way and think about all that wind. And I've always thought that wind energy on the right-of-way makes perfect sense, all those big trucks making big wind. While you won't see it on the Ray yet, we have found new vertical wind turbines that function with low mile-per-hour winds, like 3 miles per hour, which is perfect for the Ray, but it's also perfect for the majority of our highways in the nation. And it won't be long before you see a wind demonstration on the Ray showing more ways we can better use land and assets we already have to multitask. Y'all, technology is amazing, but sometimes Mother Nature has already given us exactly what we need. At the Ray, we call this our nature tech. One great example is bioswales. These native grasses grow up tall to slow down stormwater flooding off of the highway and to trap and filter pollution before it gets into the watershed. With Georgia DOT, we've planted acres of bioswales on the Ray, And we've also planted miles of pollinator meadows. And remember that solar farm we're building on the highway with Georgia Power? Well, we'll be using native pollinators as ground cover for the entire megawatt of solar. These little decisions do make a difference, especially to our utilities, the farmers, and our dinner plate. Did you know that 3 out of 5 bites of your food come from pollinators? That's your fruits and your nuts and your vegetables, and they all depend on pollinators. Now, speaking on dinner, let's be honest, we're not going to eat food grown on the side of the highway, right? It's pretty dirty. But what about using that wasted land to grow other things like sustainable fiber? We can grow perennial wheat on acres and acres of right-of-way. This super fiber is used to make disposable diapers, napkins, and toilet paper. It also sequesters tons of carbon in its 10-foot or longer root systems. With the Land Institute, we have planted the Ray this year with perennial wheat to test its viability in the South. So, saving lives on the road is our top priority at the Ray. Zero death is the most important part of Mission Zero. Last year, we lost over 40,000 Americans that died on our highways. Now, smart cars will help with distracted driving, but some accidents are caused by tire failure, and those are totally predictable and preventable. That's why wheelwright is so important. Our tire safety station on the Ray is the only one available to the public right now in the entire world. It's a drive-through. It only takes 7 seconds. You never have to leave your car, and it measures your tread, tire, and pressure on all your tires. And it even works on school buses. Worn and underinflated tires make your car dangerous and less fuel efficient. In the U.S., every year, over 2 billion gallons of gas are wasted because of underinflated tires. Now, technology like this that makes driving safer and cleaner and more efficient, this is what my dad would say is so right and so smart. And just to tell you a little of what's to come, the Ray has invented a new technology that we're calling the Smart Road Dot. The Smart Road Dot will replace the existing dumb road reflectors and will convey critical, real-time, real-place information to all drivers using color. Whether it's black ice or an accident 2 miles ahead, the Road Dot will ensure you that you don't have to own a Tesla to have the up-to-date information that could save your life. So we're working to put what we call a smartphone into each dot that communicates to each other, to cars, and to the cloud. Like my dad, we know that we can't keep what we're doing to ourselves and expect to make much of a difference. At the Ray, we've connected with thought leaders and experts in energy and transportation and environmental sectors to share what we're doing and learn from them. Each month, we host groups from around the world to our Georgia Information Visitor Center in West Point. And you can see from the pictures that the first thing almost everyone does is touch the walkway. Next time you're in the area, we invite you to come by and feel it for yourself. So hosting groups is great, but we can't wait on the world to come to us. We're coming to the world. We talk with decision makers in Georgia and the U.S. capitals, and we reach out and do interviews like BBC, USA Today, and the Weather Channel, and we speak at events like today's TEDx. Well, I sincerely hope that today I might have helped to change your attitude or told you something you didn't know, and I hope you'll share the Ray with someone you know when you leave today. The Ray is not just a place, but a movement. Quoting my father, status quo is a powerful opiate. We're used to what we know, but now you know what's possible. How much more can we achieve? On a simple stretch of road, we can create economic opportunities, save lives, generate energy, protect our environment, and create a safer, more beautiful highway for drivers. My dad used to say, we have a choice to make during our brief visit to this beautiful, living blue and green planet. To help it or hurt it. It is your call. So will you settle for status quo, or will you demand more? Thank you.